Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another Top Cut breakdown video. In today's video, we are talking about the event that took place over the weekend at TCGCon. PPG hosted a 1K tournament, and we're going to talk about that in today's video. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video. And if you guys want to help support the channel, there are many ways to do so down in the description as always, guys. But today, if you want to step your game up for competitive events just like this, consider checking out the Patreon down in the description. Now that we have Gen Con just a little over 2 weeks away, I'm going to be going over some lists that I'm actually considering for Gen Con. They're off meta picks, but I think they're very strong. I've been working on them for quite some time, so make sure to check that out down in the description. You can also inquire about coaching if you're interested in that to step your game up. Anyways, let's get right into things. All right, so we have the TCGCon PPG 1K that took place in Edison, New Jersey. I was in attendance in my home state. We had 37 players. It was a bit of a smaller event, but it was best of 3. So that data is going to kind of overlap and kind of give this tournament a little bit more weight. And I think it would have been a little bit of a larger turnout if we didn't have Otakon and then Gen Con right after the fact. This was actually a great location for a tournament. And as always, PPG does an incredible job. So big shout outs to them. We have the top 8 here for the TCGCon PPG 1K. We have 2 Trunks Vegeta, and then we have a blue-red launch actually taking the tournament by the time the finals is over. And this was top 8 playoff, by the way. So again, a little bit more credence because even though it was a smaller event, it was actually best of 3 for a lot more kind of consistent data, and it was a top 8 playoff. Then we have 1 Gamma, 1 Mass Saiyan Reboot, believe it or not, 1 SS4 Vegeta, 1 U7 Goku, and 1 GT Goku. So we're gonna break it down deck by deck, but real quick, guys, gotta shout this out. If you guys like my content and really want to help me out, I am publishing my own independent comic book, New Mafia Genesis. Talk about it all the time. I'm super proud of this, guys. If you want to check more out about it, go use the link in the description to Indiegogo. You guys can read the story there, the synopsis, and you guys can meet some of the characters, and you can contribute if you guys do want to help me out. Anyways, let's get right into this. So we have the 2 Trunks Vegeta taking up 2 spots in this top 8. At least one of the lists was blue yellow. I'm gonna have a link down in the description, by the way, to the deck list. Huge shout out to PPG once again. Can't shout those guys out enough for actually getting the data out super fast. That is going to be down in the description. But yeah, like I said, at least one of these lists was a blue yellow list. The second place list was blue yellow for sure, and I do think it's very cool. I think blue yellow Trunks Vegeta is very cool because it gives the deck a lot more reach than the standard mono yellow version has. Here's how I see the difference between mono yellow Trunks and blue yellow Trunks. So mono yellow, you play the standard engine of the Trunkses, the Vegetas, and all that good stuff, and of course the blue yellow plays the same. And what that gives you is 1, incredibly valuable cheap battle cards, and 2, it gives you crazy draw. So between your leader swinging and you doing your evolve stuff, you're drawing at least 3 cards per turn, so you are seeing a very good amount of your deck. But the thing about mono yellow is you actually get to play just all the best yellow cards that you want to and should be playing. The thing about blue yellow is you have to make some significant sacrifices to the yellow tech that you would normally be able to play in the mono yellow build, but you're paying that price to be able to play Senzu Bean. Like, you're playing pretty much 4 or more dead blue yellow cards that don't really do all much else except for just get charges energy. And of course you can use them for other things if you're a more seasoned player and know how to leverage those resources, but the main thing they're there for is to give you Bean, right? So you're trading in some of that yellow tech for Bean, and it does just inherently make the deck a little bit more aggressive, albeit also makes the deck a little bit more bricky because now you're not only looking for one of your 8 1-drops in your opening hand, but you're also looking for a blue-yellow energy because it's most ideal to charge it on turn 1. You can get away with charging on turn 2 in some cases, but again, you really want it on turn 1. So you're trading in a bit of consistency, you're trading in a bit of that yellow tech, but for more reach, more aggressive potential, and I do really like that. From playing Trunks Vegeta on the weekend, I made top 16 myself, not quite top 8, but just from playing this deck on the weekend and having played it for 2 formats now, it is a little bit rough when you don't feel like you have quite the aggressive reach to be fast enough to beat the super long game decks or the defenses that Bean offers to beat some of the low to ground aggressive decks like U7 and GT. So I might be spending a bit of time on this one, but I have a lot of experience with Trunks Vegeta, so I just want to kind of share my thoughts on the mono yellow versus the blue yellow and what I like about each build. I love the pure mono yellow tech stuff you can play, but I do think the reach of blue and Bean is probably pretty important. Anyways, moving along to the winner of the tournament, we have blue-red launch. this is actually such a cool pick in this meta, and that's for a few reasons. One, this is like the poster boy leader of Zenkai, where this leader thrives off combo, so in Zenkai it's going to be very interesting. But besides that, in this current format, this leader actually fills a lot of important roles. One, this is a combo-centric mid-range deck that plays a lot of great defensive cards, so you're going to have a great matchup against things like U7 as well as GT. Cool thing about blue-red is you can just play Dirty Burst. Like, you have blue-red cards that help you deal with the low-to-the-ground stuff, like the the one-drop threats those decks play, but you can also just play Dirty Burst and, deal with Ultra Mastery, deal with the GT trio. That's really cool. And you have real good access to barrier minusing, so that's going to be great in the Trunks Vegeta matchup as well. So this deck seems real well-rounded. I can see it maybe losing a little bit to some more stally control decks because, again, you might not have the aggressive reach to get there against those decks, but regardless, I think this deck's in a really good spot in this meta, so pretty cool one to see here. Then we have Saiyan reboot. So I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because if you guys didn't see yesterday's video, I have Sawyer's top 4 deck profile here on the channel, the exact list that he played. This is a really cool pick. He is just coming back from a long hiatus in the game, and he just loves aggro. And compared to when he played back then and did really well with like blue-red Vegeta and the Storm days and whatnot, aggro is not quite the same. We can all say that if we've been here that entire time. Aggro has taken some big hits, free play's taken some big hits, but Sawyer buckled down with Saiyan and was able to make it work to a top 4 finish, which was really, really cool. This deck abuses what free play remains in the game between Overwhelm, the Vegeta starter deck cards, some big double strike crits on the leader, the cards that came out in the Saiyan starter deck as well. So it's a really cool amalgamation of cards. Go check out yesterday's video if you want to see the profile. I strongly recommend it. This deck puts on insanely significant pressure, if not wins the game by turn 3, which we haven't seen a consistent turn 3 deck in a long time, like at least 2 formats now, maybe 3 formats. It's been quite some time, so this deck being able to do it is pretty cool. Of course, you have the mercy of RNG because it is a mill deck. You're trying to mill battle cards into play, you're trying to overrun, you're trying to do these things, make sure your leader can get a power buff and a critical buff. But again, really cool deck, black aggro, we love to see it. Check it out from yesterday's video if you want to see the profile. Moving along, we have one Gamma. So not much to say here. I mean, Gamma was the most popular deck in Top Cut at Philly, but the most interesting thing about this list in particular was that it made it to top 4 and it was playing Hit Battlefield Manipulator as opposed to the 17-18 Unison, which has been far more popular in Top Cuts and just in profiles in general than Hit Unison has been. Like, when this leader first got revealed, I won't even lie, I thought the same thing, that Hit was going to be automatically better than the 17-18 Unison because it just +1 draws a card. The -1's not even bad either. You can put an opponent's leader to their backside, or their front side rather, and then just start beating them in with all your 15Ks, your 20Ks, your cells, all that good stuff. But it turns out that 17-18 Unison is just way better because of that incremental value it just generates you over so many turns. Like, if your opponent attacks your leader, the first time they do it, your leader is 20k, right? So it's really hard to push that first damage. Another interesting side note is that Unison has probably been designed with Zenkai series in mind. Like, that Unison just synergizes perfectly with Zenkai. So Gamma, definitely a deck to pick up if you want to go deeper into Zenkai, because this deck is sure to get more support. But yeah, this list was primarily playing the Hit Unison, which is still really good. I mean, just playing a different Unison doesn't necessarily change the entire vibe of the deck, although it does make you a bit less aggressive, I guess, because that dual attack 25k on the 17-18 Unison is very aggressive. But of course, the Hit Unison is going to boost your hand to crazy, crazy numbers, especially when you eventually turn it into a Boo Unison, right? You're just going to keep drawing cards. So Gamma, probably best blue deck right now by pure results alone, but again, like, the different Unisons you play can definitely change the play style a little bit. Then we have SS4 Vegeta also taking a top cut slot here. Deck's very good in my opinion. As far as blue decks go, you're looking for a few things. Gamma, in my opinion, a more aggressive blue deck, but it can still play into the mid game pretty well. SS4 Vegeta is probably the best long game blue deck because of that inherent ability to ramp and the ability to play the crazy blue bombs like Kale, like Turning the Tide, like Golden Avenger, all these things. So I really do think that if you're going to play a blue long game deck, you're probably looking at SS4 Vegeta, maybe Blue Baby, but I mean, no one's really doing much with that deck except my teammate Mike. Shout out to him, who loves these types of decks. But anyways, I do think it's very, very good. Maybe more people will play it coming up. I would definitely not be surprised, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it stayed a little bit more rogue tier, just because the format feels pretty defined with Gamma, Trunks Vegeta, and then the next 2 decks we'll talk about right now. Honestly, not too much to say about U7 Goku. I mean, it just is what it is. Been the most popular deck for 2 formats now. Shout out to Johnny for coming back to the game after taking a bit of a break and topping this event with it. Very, very cool stuff. He put a lot of time and work in to get ready for this tournament with U7. And then wrapping it up, we have GT. Sometimes you see it in Top Cut, sometimes you don't. But I don't know, like, as far as the defined triangle goes, I do feel like it's Gamma, Trunks, Vegeta, and then, like, these 2 red decks. Really, I mean, U7 has been more popular historically, but you do sometimes see GT in there. I really like the GT deck. I think it's very good. I think the 1-drops are very valuable cards. I think the deck has a lot of card draw for a mid-range aggro deck. The only thing that hesitates me to play it is that if my opponent was ever able to kill my Unison on turn 1 or 2, I would probably rage quit out of the tournament. But besides that, I do think it's a very, very good deck. So pretty much standard stuff, except for the few outliers, the Mass Saiyan reboot, the blue-red launch, taking the event, but mostly standard stuff after that. I think the format's in a pretty interesting and healthy spot, to be honest. I mean, very diverse here. Was still pretty diverse in Philly, even though we had a little bit more concentration of decks in certain spots. But again, deck lists are down in the description. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.